Hello and welcome to Gadget Joe, and today we take a look at the Aluminium giant that is the A700. When I say that the A700 is a giant, we really weren't joking. When the box arrived, it was already twice the size of the other boxes we have to hand. In fact, it actually dwarfs the table I used to do the reviews on. What's more is the box isn't the usual brown cardboard. It's got high quality imaging on it with lots of detail on all sides with the usual black backing that carries the premium feel to it. It's heavy too, coming in at 44 pounds or 20 kilograms, so you're going to get a good workout when building your system. Opening the box, you get the chassis in foam wrapping. Fortunately, the chassis is a fair bit smaller than the box, but only just. It's certainly not something you're going to want to pull out from the top, so you're going to need to open from the bottom and lift the box away. You now see the foam padding protecting the A700 that sits in a clear bag. Stacked inside one of the foam housings is a black box that contains the accessories needed from screws, standoffs, mounts, zip ties, additional 200mm fan braces, a fan extender cable, and then a user guide in the bag too. It also comes with a lot of extra fittings, so you are good to get building. You also get a speaker, some additional foam pads, and of course the A-Series trademark keys. These are used for opening the side panels, and we will check these out shortly. Take off the bag and instantly you see the A-Series design that we have come to love, with angular glass panels, side mounted vents and built-in feet. The entire chassis is enveloped in aluminium panels that wrap around the corners all the way from the top to bottom to front, and it's a real nice effect. That front aluminium panel covers the entire front surface and has a space at the bottom with a Thermaltake logo on it. It's nice, clean, simple and very striking. The front then wraps right over the top, going all the way to the back of the chassis. On the top you get an I/O panel towards the front of the A700, and going left to right you get a reset button, audio and mic port, loading light, large LED backlit power button, 2 USB 2, 2 USB 3 and a Type-C port. Going back to the front panel, we can remove it by pulling it away from the chassis. And now you see the thick aluminium panel alongside the air intake grills on either side of it for airflow. On the front of the A700, you get mounting options for up to 3 120, 3 140 or 2 200mm fans, and up to a 360 or 420mm radiator in there too. You get a 140mm black fan already included out of the box, and there's plenty of space for cable routing too. Going back to the top once again, we can remove this by the same method, just being careful of the glass side panels. This top panel is much like the front, with the grills on it and cutouts for the I/O connections. The top actually features a tray that can be removed that has space for 3 120, 3 140 or 2 200mm fans, and a 280 or 360mm rad too. What's more is that when you remove the top panel, you get another scope of access into the chassis that can really assist, especially if you're running a custom loop in there for filling or checking connections. Move now to the rear of the chassis and it's pretty much the usual here, with a PSU cutout here for mounting the supply. Move up and you get 8 expansion slots, and above that you get the rear I/O cutout and ventilation for a 120 or 140mm fan and rad. Some of you may notice the lack of vertical expansion slots, and that's where Thermaltake's patented rotating tray design comes in. Simply unscrew the thumb screws for this plate and remove it. Then undo the 5 screws for the tray and the whole thing simply pulls away. This way you are left with a large space that can be mounted back in vertically. Place the cover back in and now you have 8 vertical expansion slots at your disposal. This is a method we have seen by Thermaltake before, and we hope it's a feature that is set to stay. Before we take a look at the internals of the chassis, let's first take a look at the opening method of the side panels. As you have already seen before, the side panels are tempered glass, nice and thick 5mm panels too, so they're plenty strong enough. What's more is that they can be locked too with the key we saw previously in the accessories box. Pop the key in and turn, and then you can pull away the side panel like a door. You see the way the lock works here, and the door itself is held in place by 4 strong magnets, 2 on top and 2 on the bottom. We're not going to focus on the inside just yet, as we will pay more attention to the rear. The rear is pretty much a mirror image of the front, with the grills and tempered glass panel. Open up the panel with a key lock once again and you are welcomed with a large, deep working space for storage mounting and cable management. Here you get 3 trays for mounting storage. On each tray that can be removed via thumb screws, you can hold either two 2.5 inch or one 3.5 inch drives, and there are 3 of these mounted amongst the rear panel. Move down from this and you can see the included I/O cables that run along the side of the chassis, and you get 2 USB 3 headers, USB 2 and power and reset headers. Now let's take a look at the business end of it all, and opening the door you are welcomed with another large internal space that looks very simple yet modular too, with a large space for motherboards, power supplies and storage to the right. The A700 supports all motherboard formats from Mini ATX, Micro ATX, ATX through to eATX, with rubber grommets to the right of the tray. There is an included 140mm rear exhaust fan. Moving down you get a half-length PSU shroud with a viewing window within. This shroud can be removed completely if needed to. On top of the shroud to the right you get an additional 2.5 inch drive tray that secures via thumb screw, and to the left of this you get an included GPU riser tray for vertically mounting, with racks that can be removed for mounting and positioning. To the right of this you get 2 hard drive storage caddies with trays that simply pull away from the caddy. Each tray will hold either a 2.5 or 3.5 inch drive, and there are 4 trays altogether. What's more, like the rest of the components in the A700, these 2 caddies can be removed if more space is needed for radiators or reservoirs. In fact, just underneath these you can see a removable reservoir mounting plate that can be positioned into place along the bottom. Along the front you see the space for mounting the fans and radiators as we discussed earlier. And that pretty much wraps up this review of the A700 by Thermaltake. A very spacious, luxurious and premium feeling chassis that not only looks striking, but thanks to extended modularity and practicality, makes for the perfect case, whether it's for a gaming setup, custom loop, server grade, workstation or just a standard PC setup. Those gull wing style doors that can be locked are a nice touch too, and the full aluminium wrapped body just adds to its appeal. While it is on the pricier side of a few pence short of £300, it certainly has enough features and a substantial build quality to back up its price tag. Considering that a lot of its direct competitors are amongst the same price point, it is about where it needs to be. All of this in mind allows me to gladly award the A700 our Gadget Joe Platinum Award, so if you're after a case that will look good even in a showroom, then look no further. You can check out the link below too to pre-order your A700 from Scan Computers in the UK, and whilst you're there don't forget to show your support by clicking like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.